All right, today we're diving into one of the darkest and, honestly, most challenging tales from Giovanni Boccaccio's 14th century masterpiece, the Decameron. It's a story about a trick, a brutal revenge, and a line that gets crossed in just the most horrifying way imaginable.
And that really brings us to the core question of this whole story, a question that feels just as real today as it did 700 years ago. How far is too far? I mean, at what point does a quest for justice turn into something much, much darker? Keep that in the back of your mind as we go through this.
Okay, so let's be super clear here. A lot of the stories in the Decameron are pretty lighthearted, fun romps about clever tricks. This is not that. It's one of the longest and most disturbing tales in the whole collection. It's really a chilling warning about the terrifying power of a brilliant mind when it's fueled by pure hatred.
Now, this story is just a masterclass in structure. It unfolds in two perfectly mirrored acts. First, we have an act of really cruel humiliation, and that's followed by an act of even crueler punishment. So let's dive into that first half.
So, Act 1. It all kicks off with this cold winter's humiliation. It starts as a thoughtless, mean-spirited prank set on a bitterly cold Christmas-side night. And this one act, this is what sets an absolutely monstrous plan for revenge into motion.
So, let's meet our two main players. On one side, you've got Ranieri. He's a brilliant scholar, just back from his studies in Paris. He's proud, maybe a little socially awkward, and he is completely head over heels for our other character. That's Elena, a beautiful young widow. She's vain, she already has a lover, and she sees the scholar's affection as nothing more than a game.
And what's really interesting here is why Elena does what she does. She's not trying to destroy Ranieri, not at first anyway. She's just vain. She wants to prove to her actual lover, who's getting a little jealous, that this scholar means nothing to her. So the trick is really a performance, a cruel piece of theater for an audience of one.
And her plan is just cold, in every single sense of the word. She promises to meet him, but then has her maid lock him in her courtyard on a night that is so freezing it's been snowing like crazy. And while he's out there waiting, freezing, she and her lover are watching from a window just laughing at his misery. She even goes down to the door to taunt him, feeding him these lies about her brother showing up unexpectedly, all just to keep him waiting out there in the snow.
And this quote right here, it just perfectly captures her mindset. As she watches this poor guy literally dancing around to keep from freezing to death, his teeth chattering, she says this to her lover. She is proud of her cruelty. She's enjoying the power she has to make him dance to her tune. It's just utterly chilling.
So here's the turning point. When dawn finally breaks and Ranieri is let out, he's nearly paralyzed from the cold. He honestly barely survives. And in that frozen courtyard, his deep love just curdles. It transforms into an equally deep, incredibly patient, and absolutely remorseless hatred. And with that, Act 1 is over.
And now, we get to the second act, a burning summer's punishment. Months have gone by, and the tables are about to turn in a big way. The power is about to shift, and the scholar's meticulously crafted plan for retribution is about to begin.
Boccaccio's structure here is just brilliant. He creates this perfect, dark mirror image. Ranieri's ordeal was one night of freezing in the dead of winter. So Elena's punishment? It's going to be one day of burning under the merciless sun of high summer. Every single detail is an echo of what she did to him. So how does he get his chance? Well, you could say fortune smiles on his hatred. Elena's lover dumps her for someone new. She's completely distraught, and she gets this foolish idea from her maid. Hey, maybe that learned scholar knows necromancy. Maybe he can cast a spell to bring her lover back. She has no idea she is walking right into the spider's web.
The scholar pretends to help, of course. He tells her this complex magical ritual is needed. She has to go bathe naked in a river at night and then climb to the roof of a deserted tower to chant some incantation. And once she's up there, he simply removes the ladder. He leaves her stranded, naked, and completely exposed to the elements, exactly like he was.
As she's up on the roof, begging for mercy, the scholar gives this long, chilling speech. He actually argues that what he's doing isn't even true vengeance, because in his mind, real vengeance would have to be worse than the original crime. He sees this horrifying act as some kind of measured, just, and maybe even insufficient punishment.
This is the scholar weaponizing his education. He uses all of his rhetorical skill, all of his learning, not to find truth or show any mercy, but to build a logical case for his own monstrous cruelty. He completely dehumanizes her, calling her a venomous serpent, and he frames his torture as a necessary lesson to teach her some kind of moral truth.
So, this brings us right back to that central question we started with. Was any of this justice, or was it something else entirely? Boccaccio basically lays out the evidence for us to decide.
Okay, let's actually break this down side by side. Her crime, it took place over a single winter night. His revenge, a whole summer day. Her intent was basically cruel amusement. His to cause the absolute maximum amount of suffering he could think of. The physical harm is, well, it's night and day. She gave him near-fatal cold. He gave her severe burns that literally peeled her skin off, insect bites, life-threatening dehydration. I mean, the disproportionality here is just staggering.
And this is the real genius of the story. Boccaccio is masterfully playing with our sympathies. In the first half, you absolutely feel for the humiliated scholar. But his revenge is so calculated, so prolonged, and so horrific that by the end, your sympathy has to shift. You're forced to ask yourself, who is the true monster in this story?
Ultimately, this tale is about so much more than just revenge. It's a deep, dark exploration of the nature of intelligence itself.
So to really get this, we have to talk about a key concept in the Decameron, this Italian word ingegno. It basically means wit, cleverness, or intelligence. And usually throughout the book, it's held up as this amazing quality, the ultimate virtue. But this story, it just flips that whole idea on its head. Boccaccio shows us what happens when that exact same celebrated ingegno is put in the service of pure, unadulterated hatred.
And that's the story's timeless warning, isn't it? It's not about a lack of intelligence leading to evil. It's about intelligence being the very tool that makes evil so terrifyingly effective. A brilliant mind, twisted by rage, doesn't just get even. It can architect a hell on earth for its victim. Which leaves us with a final thought. I mean, we all value wit and cleverness, but this 700-year-old story forces us to ask a really difficult question about ourselves. Where is that line? When does a clever plan cross over into unforgivable cruelty?